Welcome back to the Eye in the Sky. And I don't know about you, but I'm just thrilled that the regular season is right around the corner. Now, for the Vikings, opening up in Chicago on the road, huge game. We're going to dig deeply into it. But as we start to look at this matchup, I think we have to go back in time many, many months to the time when Kevin O'Connell was awarded the 2024 NFL Coach of the Year and the phrase quarterback guru started to get tossed around, right? It makes sense. You see what he did with Sam Darnold, a journeyman, got him to throw for over 4,300 yards, 35 touchdowns. The work that he did with Cousins, with Mullins, with Josh Dobbs, the list goes on and on. But somewhere in Detroit, in some deep, dark office, sat Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson looked at the NFL and said, guys, hold my beer. I'm taking myself down to Chicago, and we're going to turn things around there. Chicago, a place that has never had a 4,000-yard passer. The Vikings have had 5 different quarterbacks throw for over 4,000 yards 9 different times. The best the Bears could ever muster is Eric Kramer back in 1995, who threw for 3,838 yards. Not even close. So what does this mean? How is the guru, when he meets the player, going to get him up to the level that Ben Johnson wants? I mean, Ben Johnson has never had a quarterback as a coordinator throw for less than 4,438 yards. Big gap. How is that going? How is that relationship turning out? Well, we're not really going to know until Monday night, but I think we can look at the film and look at the preseason film in particular and see how Caleb Williams is changing for the better and how I think he's still a little bit the same. So let's dig in. Let's take a look. And remember, if you like this kind of content, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, helps me out greatly. Now let's get to the film. Well, we're going to start this session, Buffalo Bills in Chicago to play the Bears. If you watched this game when it was played, my condolences. This was a rout by the Bears, absolutely. Well, let's take a look again at Caleb Williams and how is he being used in this offense. On this first play, I think you're getting a really good chance to see a little bit of Ben Williams' offense, and that's multiple tight ends, play action, bootleg, get the ball out on the edge, get it to your athletes in space, let them do some things. So when we go back and we'll break this thing down, first thing you notice is what? Is motion. This is a Ben Johnson special. And the reason they do this is not to give away what the offense is trying to do. If the tight end just lines up outside the tackle, and when he's just outside, the feet aren't quite even, but outside, and usually it's a run or it's something out to this side of the field. But when he's splitting the leg of the tackle or he's a little bit more inside, the defender can take that to the bank and be alert for the bootleg. So what do offenses do? They just move the guys around. So if the guy's just not standing there the entire time, it's a lot harder for these guys on this side of the ball to figure out what the offense is trying to do. But shift in motion, it's going to happen on every single play. Now, this is a play from Caleb Williams that I really like. You get the play action, and immediately you see what? His head is turned around. His head is whipped around. He's already outside of the cage rusher right here, and basically all you're getting is your typical 3-level route. You're getting somebody middle, somebody deep, and then somebody shallow. In this case, Caleb makes a good decision. He sees that tight end, his tight end, Colston Loveland, is already outside the flat defender. If he gets him this ball quickly, and the ball's already in the air, but if he gets it to him quickly, he's able to do this and catch the football. Now, the Lions have been known for yards after catch, and that's not about the guy catching the football. It's about when they catch the football. In this case, you catch this football, get it to him early. He has room here, right? He has room. He's catching this football at the line of scrimmage. If Caleb Williams waits and reads this a little bit longer, yeah, he might have this guy coming open. But if he waits any longer, this flat defender is going to close in. This is going to be a throw catch tackle for a gain of nothing. But because he gets it out to him so quickly, Colston Loveland's able to give him a stiff arm and then work his way up and almost get 8 yards on this opening play. So great job on the bootleg. The timing's there. He's looking a lot better on the outside of the pocket. It's second down with 2 yards to go, and for Ben Johnson, it's a perfect opportunity to maybe stretch the field deep. And this play right here shows us a number of things. And basically, this might be, Mike Tice used to say it is what it is. And what is this play? Well, it is basically one of the absolute worst renditions of a cloud I have ever seen played by a defense. You can't sacrifice disguise for coverage. And let's get to it. But this is a great throw by Caleb Williams. Great job finding the tight end open down the middle of the field. However, I got to put a lot of this on Buffalo's defense, and let me explain. So before the ball snap, we always want to look at try to see what the quarterback is seeing. And in this case, it looks a lot like 3 deep, except maybe this deep middle guy is not quite in the middle of the field. He can't give any help to this side. But once this football is snapped, you're going to see this back safety dropping out. Now, what you have here is quarters, meaning this guy has a deep quarter. This safety has a deep quarter. And then you have cover 2 over here. So you have a deep half player. This guy plays 2 to the flat, just mirroring 2. And then outside here, this corner's rolled up. Going to jam, roll this guy outside, midpoint, rally to the flat late. The problem that the Bills have right here is once you get to this point, what do you do against 3 verticals? You have 3 different receivers running vertical routes right here. 3, boom, all up the field. This safety is in no man's land. The safety right here, he's all the way. He can't cover 3 guys vertically. He can't cover 2 guys vertically, maybe midpoint him, but he has 2 bare receivers screaming up the middle of the field. What's the problem? Well, the problem is this guy right here. Okay, so if we go back and take a look at this linebacker has to know that in any middle open type situation, there is nobody in the middle of the field. If number 3 goes vertical, then you have to run with them. This guy says, no, I'm going to settle right there, at about 10 yards deep. Caleb Williams sees this. He sees this opening in the middle of the field. He sees this 6'6" tall tight end running right down the middle of it, and he's going to throw a bullet right on the money, right on time. So that is very good for Bears fans. They seeing this out of their quarterback. And for Caleb Williams in this game, he was seeing the field pretty clearly. But I got to take some of that away because Buffalo's defense just really, that was a bad snap. This next snap, 2nd and 14, this is where you start seeing Ben Johnson's influence on this offense really become apparent. What do I mean? Well, prior to the snap, you have 3 receivers on one side of the field and only 1 on the other side. He loves to overload one side or the other. And then after that, what he likes to do is clear out that outside and then run one of the receivers across. A beautifully executed play again by Caleb Williams. So let's dig this up. Let's see what's happening. So you've got a 2 high safety kind of look, and the Bills have done a lot of work to disguise what they're doing. This ends up being a 3 deep situation, but they're going to run the play kind of the same way no matter what. So at the snap, you're getting this safety in here, and you're going to have your numbers defender, hook, numbers defender out here. What they want to do to this 3 receiver side is clear out and then run a back out or flare, get somebody else out there. But you're going to get this receiver up the field, and that's going to pull this deep third corner. And then this receiver will make his way out to the flat and then run a wheel route. The flat defender has to run with the wheel route because there's no one else left to defend him. What happens next? Well, they change things up. They put a little cheese route right here, and that cheese route is supposed to occupy this guy. And I think if you can see this thing going already, you know exactly where they're going with this, right? Corner pulled out, flat defender running with the wheel, cheese route right here to occupy the linebackers. Well, then you have another tight end. This is the open area that they are manufacturing with the route that they have going on down here at the bottom. Caleb Williams, great pocket. That's important. When he has a great pocket, he has time and he can do this. Waits for that tight end to get across. Great throw. This is second and 12 play, and this ball's caught in first down territory. So great job of design, but this is Ben Johnson to a T. So you're seeing Caleb Williams here executing this offense. 3rd and 5, our first money down, and it appears that the Bills are playing some type of man-to-man, middle closed for sure. Notice the formation. 3 receivers to one side, tight end to the other, so it's basically a slot. What that means is in base defensive units, you got to run a corner, you bump somebody out. It tips the cap of what the defense is trying to do. And if it's cat coverage, that means corner on receiver, nickel on receiver. They can see that right away. The Bears do a great job here of taking advantage of that and running a little bit of a switch route, and you get one tackled miss, and there's a touchdown. Again, I've said it before, Detroit receivers are great at run after the catch, but it's design of the offense, okay? You basically have man-to-man here, and it's really, we used to call it China, you can call it one China, whatever you want to call it. But depending on what this back does, you're going to have a free linebacker, and then you're also going to have a safety. These guys are free. They can go and follow the quarterback's eyes. Everybody else is going to try to funnel things into the middle of the field. The problem that the Bills have is this little route that they're running. It's more like a little pick route, and they sell it well. This route is run very well, meaning this receiver is getting himself inside and working his way up the field. Meanwhile, this inside receiver's selling the flat. He's selling the flat to make this guy think, I got to get on my horse and get outside. As he does, foot in the ground. Now, this DB is technically right in that he forced the receiver back inside to his free help, but this guy's way over here. That's too narrow or too wide of a window for that to work. Caleb Williams, again, good protection, right? Good pocket, throws his football underneath, and then it's run after the catch and make one guy miss, and there's your touchdown. That is Detroit Lion football in Chicago. Well, it's 3rd and 5 again. Another money down. The Bills are saying, we're going to play some man-to-man, maybe blitz a little bit on 3rd down. Well, they do the same thing here. And this, I think, once we take another look at this, is really one of the best throws, I think, that Caleb Williams made all night. And we look at it prior to the snap again, quarterback sees middle closed. You've got 2 linebackers walking up. Each defensive back, they're on different levels, which is good, but they're staring down their receivers. For Caleb Williams, if this protection works out, watch this. He's already throwing this football. I mean, this football is leaving his hand right about here. This receiver is just getting into his break. Nice job by the receiver to get into the body of the corner to force him to get upfield. This corner has his back turned. It's man-to-man. This route is going to be open. Caleb knows it. And look at this throw from one hash mark all the way to the other side of the field. I know I talk about this all the time, but for a quarterback to get this thing at least 17 to 20 yards downfield and across the field and deliver it on time and on target, that's an impressive throw. I think this might have been the most impressive throw that Caleb had all day. Well, that'll close the book on the Bills, and you're going to see now with Kansas City, when you get pressure on Caleb Williams, he starts looking a little bit like the old days. He was sacked 68 times last year. There's some lingering effect to that, and I think you're going to see that here on this play. This is 2nd and 19, so you already got yourself way behind the sticks. And a pretty simple concept. You've got a dig, a high-low with the dig right there, and then another underneath dig on the other side. And Caleb getting some pressure up the middle really just leaves the pocket. So as we dig into this play, you're getting up top, quick smash in, the tight end's going to run high and then work his way underneath. And that is the route that ends up coming open. So Caleb gets to the top of his drop. Again, the timing of this, when he's in the shotgun, the timing of it doesn't always seem great because he's set and ready to throw. there's no one else in their break except for this outside receiver. Now, 2nd and 19, get that ball out, throw it here before this inside linebacker has a chance to rally. You might catch and get yourself back to 3rd and 10, 3rd and 8, something manageable, but there's nothing there. He decided he's not going to throw. Now, he crow steps because he feels it. He feels that this tight end up here is going to eventually work his way in, and that means if he can get that ball around this linebacker, it's going to be a big throw. But he's still waiting. Look at him. He's still waiting. This guy is still open. He's got this linebacker in a pickle. The tight end is working his way toward the middle of the field. There's just nothing there. And what does he do? He pulls it down and starts to run. And it's tough when you run that direction, when you have in-breaking routes from that side. So this is where I still see Caleb just not being patient enough. When that pocket starts to break down and protection isn't right, he's pulling that thing down and throwing it, and that's what the Vikings are going to have to do. Well, it's 3rd and 19, and so you've gotten yourself behind the chains, and I bring this one in because I think it's one of the more terrifying, as a Viking fan, one of the more terrifying snaps that you're going to see. Not played brilliantly, but still, the Caleb Williams physically phenomenal, right? So what's going on here? You've got your basic 3rd and long. You're going to get a 3-man rush. Tampa 2 look behind it. Half player, deep middle of the field. Caleb stepping up, and he's getting this defensive lineman in his face. He gets hit as he throws, but he's still able to get that football to his receiver, right? And it's pretty darn amazing. I mean, the route is not that complicated. You're basically getting your tight end, you're keeping him in for a little bit to chip and then working his way out, and you're getting your basic cover 2 type route. And the primary in this case is just this curl right here, because this deep middle defender has got his back turned and is working to the strong side of the field, or the 3 receiver side of the field. And the only guy you really got to worry about underneath is him. Now this goofball is set up at the original 1st and 10 marker. He needs to get his rear end back here at least another 5 yards. So that's on him for lack of knowing where he is on the field or what the down and distances are. But Caleb's hanging in there. He's hanging in there, and he's seeing this route and this curl route eventually coming open. His problem is right here with the defensive tackle pushing his center right into his lap. But watch this. He throws his football. He can't even follow through. And you have 2 Kansas City defenders right here and then 1 underneath. They're all closing in on this football, but he still has enough arm strength to get it there and complete it. Now, was it 4th down? Yes. Should he not have thrown this football? Probably not. But for him to be hit like that and still deliver that ball, man, that's pretty impressive. All right, much more manageable 2nd down and 3 yards to go. Let's see what happens here. It looks like the Chiefs playing some man-to-man here. Snap of the football. All right, now, middle of the field, tight end coming open. For some reason, Caleb says, I'm just not going to throw this football. You got to secure it, and then ends up getting sacked. Now, let's go back and take a look at the opportunity. This is what we saw out of Caleb Williams last year. Receivers coming open, and he just doesn't find a way to get there. He gets the 2-man look prior to the snap. So good job by Kansas City and by not tipping their hat and letting them know who's going to be covering what. And once this football snapped, you get to right here. He looked at the running back. He could have gotten that football out there right away if he wanted to. Didn't like that look. There's plenty of separation. That throw right there would have been fine. What you're getting is curl just past the sticks here, and in route just past the sticks here. But it's this tight end who's going to be working his way in the middle of the field. This safety is going to go over the top. You have a plug defender underneath with the linebacker, but look where he is. Okay. He's all the way over to this hash mark. So what Caleb needs to start feeling now is this lane right here coming open. And he knows that the tight end will eventually get there. Go ahead and throw it. I mean, he has plenty of time right here. He's now stuck over here on the 2 in routes when the money route is coming open right in behind. He doesn't even see it. goes from the back, just reads through his progressions way too quickly, doesn't identify where the holes in the defense are, and then pulls this thing down and then decides to scramble and gets sacked. So when things are not what they seem, or when there's pressure on him, Caleb Williams kind of looks a little bit like Caleb Williams of old. All right, 2nd and 8. Let's see what the Chiefs have cooked up. And again, looking at this formation pre-snap, this is Ben Johnson stacking receivers, tight end off the ball, receiver close. Normally when receivers are bunched up, they want to spread the defense horizontally. If they want to stretch it vertically, then they space themselves out to make it harder for the safeties. So something in the lines of crossers probably coming up. The Chiefs do a nice job here disguising, making it look like a couple different things, but ends up really just being 8. And Caleb gets the ball to the check down. But when we take a look a little bit more closely at this play, you kind of see that he's a little slow in trying to get the football where it needs to go. Okay, so you have quarters up top, which means this. You have this running back trying to hook up underneath right about here. Why? Because this tight end is going to be running a dig in right behind him. Against the right defense, this is the throw to make. Over here, we have an out with another in, but this being quarters, this safety is just sitting here waiting for it. So he can drive on this dig underneath, and that's not open. So this dig isn't open. This dig is not going to come open. You have another quarter safety sitting right here. Get the ball to the running back. Get it to him right away. Now, the running back right here does a good job of working his way to the middle of the field. Eventually, this defender has to leave because he has to take the flat. The flat right here is wide open. You throw this ball here, it's going to probably be a first down. But right now, get rid of the football. Okay, you have a space here. Get the football to the running back when he still has a chance, or get it to the running back where he can catch his football and turn and run and get some yardage. He just waits a little bit too long till he gets all the way across. Now the receiver has to run back in to turn around and get north and south. Still ends up being a first down, but a lot of yards after catch left on the table because the ball is late getting out. 3rd and 5 from about the 10-yard line. This is an interesting play because the Chiefs are playing 3 deep, this deep into the red zone, which a lot of teams don't. You'll maybe see why, but keep an eye on this guy right here. As he gives a good disguise that I think saves this play. But right now, if you're the quarterback, you're thinking zero blitz. You're seeing zero blitz. And with the in-breaking route, Caleb Williams trying to hit that post, he did not see that safety who was basically bluffing. Okay? We get closer to the snap. Right now, you're thinking, okay, you're getting some type of zero blitz. What Caleb Williams doesn't see is this safety work his way back in. Now, 3 deep, there are some other options here, but he gets himself fixed. As he sets up right here, tight end's getting into the flat defender, probably not going to be able to get that football out to him in the flat, but this corner, outside shade with this receiver, this alleyway right here is open. And here he is. Here's a guy that was mugging up to the line of scrimmage. He's just waiting. He's just saying, he's giving him the bait. Throw that football. Caleb's off the flat, goes to the post, and says, I'm going to get rid of it. And for some reason, just doesn't see this guy sitting right here. Now, where he should be going is on the back side, because once he's looked this free safety off, this is 3 deep. This is an outside shade corner. This post right here should be open all day long. But he almost throws it for an interception deep in the red zone. That's a huge mistake. So as good as Caleb Williams looked against the Bills, you take a look at this game, he's starting to look a little more human. 2nd down and 8. This is another good snap by Caleb Williams. I mean, so he's up and down a little bit this game. Chiefs walking up, showing a little bit of blitz, making him think about some things. But this a good read by Caleb. Once he sees this relationship in the flat, look at that ball. On target, on time, on the upfield shoulder, allows the receiver to make a move after he catches the football. So let's break this one down, okay? So before this football snap, you don't know. This guy could be blitzing off the edge up here because you have a safety here in case if it's man to man. So it's not a ghost situation. So you have to respect that. But once this football is snapped, and I'm not quite sure what exactly the Chiefs are doing right here, but as Caleb, look, he's already getting rid of this football. The problem you have is you have a cornerback who's basically playing man-to-man up here, back turn, the whole thing. And then you have a hook or a flat defender, I'm not even sure what he's supposed to be, stopping and turning around and looking back, where you have an entire section of the field now that's open. This is just to speed out. And again, Caleb Williams from the far hash. These throws are so hard to make. That's why I always point them out. Another 20-some yards down the field, and I think delivers it in a good spot to keep it, number one, away from this corner in case he breaks off and sees the ball thrown. But then it also gives the receiver a chance to turn this thing up and make a couple moves. So when you just give it up and don't disguise, then Caleb Williams will be able to take advantage of you. All right, so we have a 1st and 10 play here. This is where protection starts to break down, and this is where I like the Vikings' chances against this offense because they don't have everything quite ironed out yet. So before this ball snapped, you're going to see the Chiefs moving around. Just as the ball snapped, you've got to count, okay? You look at how they're lined up. You have 1, 2, 3, and then possibly 4 rushers on this side, and they're turning their center the opposite way. They're sending all four of their linemen to this way, this direction. They're all turning out. This is exactly what the defensive coordinator wants. Now you have 3 defenders here on the bottom to overwhelm this running back. They have a tackle and a running back. Somebody's coming free. So a busted protection leads to this. Williams sees a free rusher, and watch this throw. He has a guy right in his face. This receiver is evened up with the corner. This ball is thrown really very nice back shoulder, should have been caught. So even when you get a free rusher to him, he can still deliver that football. But it's the mistake in protection that gets me excited because the Vikings can coax offenses into mistakes. Now, the Chiefs know that they're getting a lot of mileage out of all these fakes and different looks, but it gets them in trouble here in this case. And before this ball snapped, you're seeing this is a Ben Johnson special, right? 3 receivers on one side, 1 on the backside, tight. Are we going to clear this end and send a crosser? I mean, in a hook across the middle of the field? Those are the routes that this guy loves. But in this case, the Kansas City defense, they're not all on the same page, and it allows Caleb Williams to make a really good read and a really good throw and almost get a touchdown on this play. So let's go back and kind of tear this thing apart. What you have is this corner up top, for some reason, is locked down and playing man-to-man. That's important, and it's important to this guy right here because what that corner does changes how he is going to react in this situation. If this corner's locked up here on the outside, then he knows he has help up on top. I think you got quarters down here. Looks, I don't know what this is up top. But if he gets some kind of 7 route, then he has to convert it. But what he ends up doing is just coming off of it. And as he comes off this, you'll see Caleb Williams sees it. He sees what? This gigantic area right here that's wide open. So great patience by him, great hanging in the pocket. For some reason, this defender thinks he's throwing it somewhere underneath, but no, he's throwing it over your head, and that's a bad feeling when you're out there. So really a mix-up in coverage for the Chiefs, I think due to disguise, but Caleb Williams, if you make a mistake, he's going to make you pay for it. And finally, I think it's 1st and goal from the 3-yard line. This is just an example of Caleb Williams just being able to deliver an absolute laser beam when he needs to. You're just getting the receivers to spot up just on the outside, a little bit of a pick and roll up on top. Look at this window, right? The inside defender can't get there, and he just delivers an absolute laser beam right on the money to the running back. So if you make a mistake and leave a guy open, he's going to get you. Just a simple in route pick by this outside receiver to just get in the way to try to open up the tight end to the outside. And if that flat route doesn't look open, watch this read. Looks, nope, nothing there. Boom, goes right to his number 2 option and fires a bullet right there. So Caleb Williams looks better when things are set up and you see what the Buffalo Bills try to do. You know, they try to disguise a little bit, but they didn't do a whole lot to get Caleb Williams off of his timing. And you fast forward to the Kansas City Chiefs game, a team that likes to zone blitz and overload sides. You start seeing what? Errors in protection. You start seeing a quarterback who wasn't sure of what he was seeing. What does that mean for Monday night? Well, we have Brian Flores, and Brian Flores loves to throw the kitchen sink at young quarterbacks. The Minnesota Viking defense has to get Caleb Williams off of his game, off of his timing. How does Ben Johnson prevent that? Running the football, play action, and choosing when he is going to use the drop back game. And that's it. I think in that matchup, the Minnesota Vikings gave up 16 points on average to the Bears a game last year. They gave up 30 to the Detroit Lions. Is it the scheme? Is it the players? It's probably somewhere in between. But if the Vikings can get Caleb Williams off his game, get that timing off, get him nervous in the pocket, that average is going to be, I think, closer to 16 than 30.